We just bought this 2021 KTM 1290 Super Adventure R on auction. It came from across the country. We don't know anything about it. We don't know how many kilometers are on it, and we don't know why it doesn't start. All we got was this box of goodies and that. Come with me while we find everything that's wrong with my 2021 KTM 1290 Super Adventure R. For starters, you can see that it's missing all of its plastics. There's also wires hanging everywhere. The bash plate has taken quite a nasty hit and has actually gone and squashed the header tube into a pancake. There's this weird scuff on the frame that seems to have rubbed through the paint. And there's also these black marks at the base of the fork leg, which don't really make a lot of sense. This is leaking as well, as you would expect. And the seat mounts have broken off. The right inside bark buster has also taken a little bit of a scratch. Moving over to the left, fork leg is also leaking. Plastics are also missing, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of damage here. The bike actually has quite a few redeeming qualities. Let me show you a few of the things that stood out to me when I saw the ads for it. Firstly, this Wings titanium exhaust. This is like $1,000 just for this. I don't even have one on my own 1290, it's so nice. The headlight has got not a single crack or scratch. It's got the widened and lowered foot pegs. The TFT, completely unharmed. KTM Power Parts rally seats. This is really nice. But now for the moment of truth. Have we just bought a nice ornament, or will this bike actually fire up? Okay, so when the bike came, these things were completely taken apart. I'm not sure why, but let's put them back on, these earth straps. Moment of truth, let's go. Hey, it's got rally mode as well. It's got the tech pack.
That's good. I want to see
Mileage.
Come on.
How do you get there? Oh, 17,000.
Okay. The brother said 10,000.
I was expecting 10. 17.
Okay, hit the button. Let's see. Okay, now that you poured petrol all over the thing.
Yeah, everywhere.
It's literally draining, dude. It's draining out the front.
What?
It's draining out the front.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Ready? No way.
Yes, so the bike fires up and it sounds perfect. However, we just discovered it's got a bent frame. I guess this is what you get when you buy a bike sight unseen off the internet. Either way, we decided to strip it down to determine whether it's worth fixing or whether we need to replace the frame. It's pretty costly. Oh, there we go.
I'm not sure what's inside. And this looks like one unit, but there's tons of electronics. So let's get that plug.
Oh, here.
Yeah, so that's okay.
That's
That definitely released it.
The head unit is surprisingly easy to remove. There's literally 4 bolts and like 3 connections, and that's it.
No way. You sure you got the right pipe?
Oh, it just got pinched under there. Seems like the radiator cap actually got bent and ended up pinching one of the wires underneath it. Specifically, one of the wires that goes to the head unit.
Okay. Just help feed it. Nice. Look at that. Okay. Almost died off the fire extinguisher. Dude, this bike looks mean. We should just put a big headlight on it and it would look perfect.
Big dirt bike. The rule is, if bolts can go back in where you found them, put them back in, else you'll definitely lose them. So we need to get in over here. I think this has to come out. I think whatever this thing is here needs to come out. We need to move some of these wires away. What is that? Bro, I don't know what this is. I think it's like a emissions related thing. I don't know. It's massive though.
Put a screwdriver in and see if it leaks.
This needs to come out, and then if we move this away, we can definitely get in here and actually like cut this.
It's like a big full filly, just way fast.
While these bikes look pretty big and heavy with all the plastics on, once it's stripped down, you realize there isn't actually that much to them. I don't really know how much more weight could have been saved. But back to the job at hand. Let's carry on by removing these radiators. Pretty straightforward. They're literally just held on by 2 bolts, 2 hose clamps, and 1 plug for the fan. And then they're off.
There it is. Oh, that's a clamp.
Now we're going to go ahead and actually take the front end off the bike. So we started off by removing the brake lines from underneath the triple clamps, as well as the steering stabilizer, and finally that massive charcoal canister that occupies quite a bit of space.
This is quite interesting. Something I didn't know. So this is a little key thing. And wait, when Lex is done here,
I cannot.
getting involved. So this little piece fits straight into the neck there. And then when you lock it, top there, this little guy just sticks in there basically. And all of a sudden, the bars are locked. And if you look in there, you can see. Wait, move your hands, move your hands, move your hands, move your hands. Wait, okay. See that?
Oh, there.
That's how it
Yeah,
closes it.
Sick.
And that's how your steering locks. Oh, there you go. Nice. Putting foreign objects in there. So you're thinking maybe, what, cut it here?
No, because there's like
Is
a
there-
bracket behind,
yeah, there's that
so
bracket
kind
as
of
well.
like in line with this. With the charcoal canister out the way and the steering stabilizer, there was actually enough space to get in here with the angle grinder and cut this broken piece of frame out. This was pretty stressful, but I mean, it's pretty much trash anyway, so what's the worst that we can do at this point? Also, the frame material was surprisingly soft. Like, it was a lot thinner than I expected, and it cut very similarly to cutting like a metal broom handle in half. No offense, KTM.
The hacksaw!
This was as far as I could get through the metal with the angle grinder. Wasn't quite enough, so we had to use the hacksaw to cut the last remaining piece. Here we are tugging on the front end of the bike, trying to see what it takes to get this frame to stretch. And as you can see, it is kind of working. This is super positive though, because it means that we do stand a chance of being able to bend this frame straight by hand. There it is. This is the piece of the frame that got completely crumpled from the front end impact. It's actually quite a lot thinner than I expected. So if we could just stretch the front end of the bike out again, we should be able to get the frame to align. Here you can see that these two pieces don't actually line up perfectly, which does mean that the head is bent in a little bit. I think that if we take some measurements, we might be able to find a suitable piece of metal to replace this piece of the frame. It looks like the wall thickness is about 1.5 millimeters, while the outer diameter is just under 28.5. For those of you in the BMX world, these numbers might remind you of something. But before we can even think of replacing this piece of the frame, we have to be able to bend the bike perfectly straight so that we can make sure that all the angles line up. Okay, so some more jumping on this thing, hoping for the best. After a good few minutes of trying this, we realized that it was never going to work, so we had to try a new strategy. Just taking this off, so it kind of hurts your hand when you press on there. Bend this in from pressing too hard. Judging by the way that the frame had crumpled, specifically on the left side only and not on the right, led us to believe that the impact wasn't a head-on collision, but probably like a front-side impact. So we thought that if we could kind of do the reverse of whatever that impact was, we could probably bend the rest of the frame straight, especially without that piece adding extra support. And of course, the best way we could think of to bend this straight was obviously to jump on it. And by the looks of things, it seems to have actually worked. We have stretched the frame out quite a lot more than it was. All we really have to do now is measure the head angle to make sure that it's dead straight and cut a new piece of metal to weld in here. So one of the issues here is that this pipe is a little bit bent on the side. You can see it's a little bit flat. And then if we go over to this side, you can see it's actually a little bit flared up over there. So I'm going to need to try and knock that back straight. And the same here as well. Need to try and knock this straight. So I'm thinking that if I can put something in here and knock it a couple times, I should be able to get it a little bit more rounded. Okay, a few smacks with the hammer, and we seem to have actually rounded this tube. Because of the way the frame compressed, this piece of tube actually flared out. Didn't have a lot of space here, but we needed to try and get it as round as possible so that we could easily weld in a nice new piece of tube. Since bending that piece straight, you can see that it overhangs quite a lot in here. You can see that little lip. So I think we just need to file that down so we can get these to be perfectly parallel, and then it makes slotting in the new piece a lot easier. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing, because next week we're going to use this. Yes, I know it's pretty out of place for a motorbike, but we're going to use this to put the bike back together. See you next week.